probably do. But you know how I go. Right, right. Probably so. I said probably so. Right, right. Yeah, that work. Yep. Right, right, right. It usually work like that, but you know how I go. Right, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it, it probably could, but just let me know. If you let me know ahead of time, then I usually can make it happen for you. No, I'm getting ready to go live. Send it to my email. Yeah, you can send it to my email. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, hold on 1 second, bro. Give me 1 second, family. Give me 1 second. Okay. Right, right. And it could go that way, but I'm not. I won't know until I check it. Yep. Yeah, when I check the answers, yeah, I'll let you know what was wrong. Absolutely, absolutely. And just like every Wednesday, you can just come to the library and I tutor you on it. Yeah, he know me. Ask your professor. He know me. Hmm. Peace, everybody. Peace. Sorry about that, man. I'm taking a call as well, so please just give me one quick second. Give me 1 second, y'all. No, I was talking to the live. I'm back. Yes. Yes, I can. And my wife usually set my schedule, so send it to the email, and then I'll get back with you. Okay? No problem. No problem. Peace, peace, peace. Damn it. Excuse my language. Peace, y'all. I hope everybody having a great day. I had a good day today. Right now. Oh, yeah, it's 10. I had a good little speaking this morning. First of all, I give gratitude for everyone that take the time out their day just to listen to little old me. First, I give everyone gratitude and I give everyone honor. But it's a lot of history that our brothers and sisters may have heard, or what my boy say, yeah, get the likes up. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, absolutely. And I just like to be here and just have intellectual conversations with brothers and sisters on history and just on my misnomer black people of understanding a little history before we speak on things and before we let religion and politics separate us. We should have a common denominator, which is history. It's only one history. And a lot of things were taken out of history, especially if that's not your expertise. If you're not studying history, spirituality, and law, and seeing what was taken out and why things was taken out, it's a clear reason why things was taken out. It's a clear reason why history want to make it seem like the misnomer black man or the Asiatic man never done nothing in history, especially with our empresses. See, society has got, it's not a, when I use the fake terminology of Willie Lynch, because that wasn't real. Separating that wasn't real. Willie Lynch was fake. But it's the same thing with this history, with his story, and also biblically, how things were taken out the biblical scripture. For you won't see the power not only the Asiatics had, but our empresses had. I got you, bro. All through the Bible, it talks about Sophia. Sophia is wisdom. Sophia is the female counterpart to understanding. That's why the biblical scripture says anything you should seek wisdom and understanding. That's why most black preachers won't talk about Ruth the Moabitess and Tamara and all them. That's why the ladies held the bag. And so when I see the algorithm of a lot of brothers and sisters, I say the enemy, and I'm not saying the white or black, the enemy, which is the lower self, has used technology on us and got the man and the woman fighting, saying that the woman can't lead. And a lot of these men, the only leadership they ever seen in a household was a woman. Because a lot of their daddies was junkies, or a lot of their father was going to work to bring the money, so the woman raised the kids and went and got that education. This is not a slight to us men. We held our position. We were workers. Some of us, some of us did both, like myself and others. When people see me in this age, and a lot of men work hard to the bone and they work with their hands, and I say, well, because they're not using their mind, and some of them didn't educate themselves. So if you choose to say, hey man, I want to work with my hands or work regular jobs and not use my brain, that's your choice. But it's all different types of men and women that chose to sacrifice and say, man, it's something that I want to chase, besides dollars or politics. And that's understanding who we are historically and spiritually. And when I see us, men, especially during this political game that was played, I saw a lot of men, misnomer black women, using that time and letting that fight. And I'm like, that's crazy. I seen a lot of men that I know saying that's why the world is messed up, because of women, this and that, because a woman want to be leadership. That's crazy. And so I say, okay, well, is it because of Kamala? I get that, because like I said, I don't have a dog in a race. But say if it wasn't Kamala, and say it was a different woman with wisdom, say if it was Maya Angelou, just throwing it out there, and she understand nationality and this, not and the other, and we're not this, Negro, black, and color, and understand that this just a game, would a man, and say she was going against a European white man, Albion white man, Trinidad white man, no disrespect, would that man say, I ain't voting for Maya Angelou because she a woman and a woman can't run the world? And will we just say that and vote for the male counterpart? To me, that's asinine, that scenario. That scenario to say, no, a woman can't be in leadership. So instead of me going for the woman that got all the qualities and that we can hold accountable and that telling you this is what it is and how she believes, my chauvinist ways, I won't vote for the woman to be in a leadership position because I feel women can't be in leadership position. That's messed up. That's messed up. Especially for Asiatic men, black men, to say that. I say, clearly you don't know your history, brother. And then turn around, they'll say that black and I'm proud stuff. And I say, clearly you don't know your history to say something like that. That's a slight in the face. Okay, so if you getting educated at a place and a woman getting educated and y'all come from the same academia and the same background, and she run for, say, city council or congressman in your area, and she's a great candidate, and she run against men, would men say they're not going to vote for her because she's a woman? And that's why the world is messed up, because women want to be in leadership, and she's qualified and educated and anointed and consecrated? That's messed up. For my humble opinion, that's messed up for men to say, especially men that say they spiritual, especially men that say they were raised by good women and etc. and that and the other. There's no slight to men. There's no slight to our dominance when it's the Bible says that a man's supposed to be the head, yeah, but a man's supposed to be led by the Creator. So there's some things and there's some ways that man is going to live that's going to exude those qualities that a woman, no matter if she's in a leader, have those leadership qualities, by her being a great leader, she's going to be able to, I don't like the word humble, but she's going to be able to give gratitude to the divine masculine, because that divine masculine understands that divine feminine. You have to understand that this is a system. This is a synchronicity. And that's why a lot of men that get the information, willy-nilly, is not going to understand this. They'll say things what the Bible said, but what do it mean? Is this something that you're studying, or is this something that we're saying? And I'm going to talk about a little something, and it's the Sibyls, the Sibyls, the first prophetess of Mami Wata. And when I tell a lot of my people, this stuff was taken out of history. This was the theft of African prophecy by the Catholic Church. A lot of things is hidden in the Catholic Church. As an educator, as a scholar, I was able to go to a lot of the Catholic churches and see things that the average person maybe not be able to see in a lifetime, or maybe saw pictures in the book, but then weren't able to connect what historicalness or what ancientness the pictures connect to and the culture. Maybe you weren't able to go behind the curtains in the Catholic Church and see all the pictures of the Yahshua and the disciples melanated in all gold frames. Maybe you weren't able to get your hands on Russian icons by Vladimir Ivanov and see the ancient Russians, who they were. Maybe you don't understand in the biblical scriptures when it says what you should seek is wisdom, and it relays wisdom to Sophia. That's why I said our brothers, especially us melanated brothers, this ain't about nobody else. I'm not talking about nobody else. It doesn't matter to me what you believe in. I'm saying from a historical aspect, us as men and women, we didn't have a problem with our women being in leadership position. This is what I'm saying. In our culture, we didn't get into a union or marriage because we liked each other. Our union was for family purposes, to continue that legacy, to continue to build that supreme dominance, the offspring. And so when I talk about this here, man, our culture, we always had women in position. Even the Ashanti warriors, Empress Nani of the Jamaican Maroons. Even in the Bible, Ruth of Moabitess, Tamara. And then a lot of people say women, they can't preach and all that. But okay, you say that, but the first one to preach the gospels was a woman. I know a lot of men, them Southern Baptists, they say a woman wasn't supposed to have authority over a man. Get there, yeah, I get that. One's supposed to preach in the church, but what's preaching? We think preaching is getting up in the pulpit. See, that's what the common American person thinks preaching is. Preaching this ain't getting in no pulpit. Hell, in ancient times, there wasn't no damn pulpit. So how you gonna preach, preacher? How you gonna preach? How you gonna serve the community if it ain't no pulpit? What does your life consist? Because my life is ministry. My whole life is ministry. My entire life is ministry. As I travel, I just left my home city of Flint, Michigan. I did ministry every single day. Every single day. Saved a lot of people's lives. So when brothers they don't know history and they don't know the female counterpart, especially when I talk about talking Kabbalistically about like the Baphomet, Temp, Hob, Abs, Abba, and you see the male and the female, and it's nothing scary. It's written Kabbalistically. And we got to stop letting people, especially people that look like us, trying to explain our history and don't even know a tittle of the history. Even spiritually, even religiously. We have to stop that because we want the best of the best. No matter if it's male or female, we want the best of the best. That's how I roll. We want the best of the best. We don't need no entertainer or no rapper or nobody that just think they tough speaking for us because they're the loudest dog in a room. No one cares about that. We're not letting no one separate the woman and the male. In Moorish culture, that's what this science about. The man and the woman sitting on the throne together and then having the child. That's immaculate conception. You don't ever see it in our history, the woman. Look at King Menkaure in Egypt and you see his empress right next to him. What are we talking about? But we take on these Americanized, no disrespect, these European, these Albion, these trailer-like ways of life. And then try to pass those things over and say this culture and say the Bible says. Man, you have no idea what the Bible states. Clearly. And it's no disrespect to no one. So let's deal with a little bit of these women in history that was took out your history by the Catholic Church. These women, African women, are the only women in the world whose ancient mothers were not born under the yoke of patriarchy. During ancient times, for the first 6,000 years, Africa was ruled by a powerful order of matriarchs. Considering the current status of African women around the world today, one could hardly be convinced that her matriarchal presence and the enormous influence she wielded in the ancient world have far exceeded the limited physical, cultural, geographical, and political designations of which Africa and her religions are confined today. During her reign, African religions had reached very high levels of theological and ritual development. Like when I talk about Credo Matua, you know, when I talk about Credo Matua, when I talk about Sheikh Bamboo Falls, and were the original spiritual homes of the world's first great oracles, prophetess, and prophets. In the biblical scriptures, when you hear them talk about they were led by the stars, who? Who were led by the stars? Why you think no misnomer black preacher would talk about Ruth the Moabitess and Tamir? Why you think that? Why? I'm not here to convince no one else. So I said, man, it ain't no prejudice bone in my body. Most of the people I deal with are different nationalities. And were the original spiritual home of the world's first great oracles, prophetess, and prophets under the rising tide of African patriarchy. And a sacred order of sibyls were sold as slaves to build and work the powerful oracles they established in ancient Greece, Rome, Turkey, and Babylon. What is now currently the Holy Seat of the Vatican in Italy was originally the sacred seat of the ancient black Sibyl queen mothers. Centuries before, the Vatican was originally the sacramental seat of the ancient black Sibyl queen. Centuries before Christ, they were known to heal the sick. Centuries before Christ, they were known to heal the sick, restore dignity, and strengthen the weak. Just like when you talk about Mayat, and then you see in the biblical scriptures how Jethro, it's the same thing. That's Mayat. In the Bible, it's talking about Mayat too, the way things judged. But it's relaying it to the physical, if you understand what I'm saying. Research it. They were famous for curing lameness, epilepsy, deaf, mutes, lepers. They were said to cast out demons and even to raise up the dead. Don't that sound like biblical? Lazarus, don't that sound like biblical things? When I tell y'all, even when you research the flood story, I show you the epic of Gilgamesh. I start connecting things. That's why things were took out. It's another reason why the book of Enoch was took out. And it's no disrespect. And then you will hear those that maybe not fluent in biblical history. They'll say, well, it's not canon. Who said it? Based off what? Whose theory? What are you talking about? All scripture is for edification. Their prophecies are the oldest and most authentic in the world. They were the basis for the Greek and Roman tragedies and plays. More astonishing, their prophetic books were later collected by the Roman authorities, who needed a Western theological foundation in order to compete with the powerful Levitical Jews. Just like when I talk about Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James. Research it. I tell all my brothers that's in fraternities and they talk that Greek stuff. I said, the Greek history ain't nothing but watered down Egyptian history. It's stolen legacy. It's no disrespect. Research it. All you got to do is study. If you need it, I'll give it to you I'll send you the PDF book, because I converted hundreds and thousands of books to PDF. I have companies that we provide books and things, PDF, and, after we print them and bind them, because I have a book binder and a printer, industrial, and I do this in my professional life. But the Sibyl's prophecy soon became the sole and undisputed precursor to the Western Christian Bible as the first established sacerdotal African matriarchs. The Sibyl's culture and religious impact was arguably the most profound on ancient civilization that modern history has ever revealed or cared to admit. From Mesopotamia to Libya, Mizraim, y'all know what Mizraim is. In the biblical scripture, Egypt is Mizraim. Kemet, Egypt, Iona, Minoah, Peloponnese, which is Turkey, Messenia, which is Greece, and later Rome, the Sibyls were the primary, divine, Vatican, and absolute moral authority. The absence of African women's contribution in world history as major economic, political, and spiritual players, as opposed to exceptions to the norm, or mere appendages of great men, has been problematic and disturbing at best. For the first time ever, her real history is being unearthed, revealed, and told. In its telling, many shocking revelations that remain hidden for more than 2,000 years will finally be known. And that's why I say there's nothing to be argued about, man. I'd lecture this in college, especially when I broke down the etymology of words, when I broke down Vatican, how I broke that down, how I showed y'all what kumbaya really mean, the kum, the bai, the ya with the lexicon. It don't mean no kai here. It means stand up and arise. The kum, the ba, and the ya. We talking scholarship. We're not talking tradition or what somebody told you and what you think. I'm telling you that if it's written, then we must decipher these things that people have told us, especially a lot of our parents and a lot of our educators has miseducated. That's what Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the Negro. I blame it on our preachers and our educators and our so-called political brothers and sisters that can't argue or deny what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is peer-reviewed scholarly research, especially from those that say they're biblical scholars or historical scholars. No, what it is, you come from a certain discipline, and a certain discipline can make you biased because you may not study all the others. But we don't stay to one science where we miss the essence of all the rest. See, these is facts. Vatican, divining serpent, derived from vatis, diviner, and can equal serpent in this context. Vatican City and St. Peter's Basilica were built on the ancient pagan sites called the Latin Vaticus, Mons or Vaticanus, Coli, which means hill or mountain of prophecy. Hebrew definition, Vatic, V-A-T-I-C, V-A-T-I-S, V-A-T-E-S, a seer, a prophet, soothsayer, diviner, divination, soothsayer, to act covertly, to use hidden arts, magic, to practice sorcery, mysteries. Diviner means witchcraft, tell fortunes, fortune teller, bewitch, to consult a spirit of the dead, to practice magic. Munster's Geographia, I'm going to show you all a picture. 1540 edition map showing the real ancient Babylon located in southern Egypt. It's in the upper right. I'm going to show you the picture. Babylon in Egypt has now been removed from the modern maps. Munster, M-U-N-S-T-E-R, a linguist and mathematician who initially taught Hebrew in Heidelberg, is generally regarded as one of the three most important map makers of the 16th century. When I start showing y'all the Negro question, when I show y'all that Judah had different names, Judah, Abir, it's a couple other names, and what makes it so prophetic is you had cartographers in different parts of history that didn't dispute the maps. Cartographers are ones that pinpoint the landings, what they saw by those European Albion Teletype kings back in those days. I lectured that a while ago. I don't have time to pull it all out, but I'll do it again. And it's a whole series called The Negro Question, and they got the maps in there. There's no disrespect to no one. But, here you go, right here. See this, and it's right in the corner right there. You can look this up for yourself if you ever have time. But Justin tells the Greeks that they may find the true religion in the ancient Babylonian Sibyl, who came to Kuma and there gave her oracles, which Plato admired as divine. Clemens Romanus also quotes the Sibyls in his epistle to the Corinthians, I hope y'all listening to his epistle to the Corinthians. They are also quoted by the Theophilus Antiochus, Anthingorus, Firminius, Lactanius, Escobus, St. Augustine, and Floyers. Research Godfrey Higgins, Anacopus, or Analopus. I think my nobles, y'all got that. I sent that to all my noble students, to all my muftis. Here you will see the picture right here. You see this empress right here? Let's read something. It's not surprising that the Sicilian terracottas, which we have seen, embrace so large a field of Oriental East Africa. And before I go on, don't y'all ever seen? And I'm going off topic. The Thunderbird, the car Thunderbird. I'm gonna start showing y'all also what the Smithsonian hid. It's very simple. I'm gonna show y'all all the history. You're gonna see like the Thunderbirds. You'll be like, where do these come from? And we don't understand what giants were per se. And then they talk about it in the biblical scriptures. And then in real history, this can be proven. That's why I said you can't deny the bones and the archaeology and the Carmen Dayton. It can't be denied. But anyway, to embrace so large a field of Oriental, East Africa, Egypt, Greek, and Roman mythology should also contain illustrious of oracles, being and virgin pagan prophetesses who play an important part in the rise of Christianity, whose books were largely used by the ancient fathers of the church against the pagans, and whose prophecies did not fall before the light of a new religion for nearly 4 centuries after the advent of Jesus. So when you diss something and you don't know the history and where it come from, then that shows a slight to you. I told you, no disrespect. No one can take your science and repackage it and throw it back to you. The thing is, you have to know your science and able to shut it down. I'll give a little introduction and then I might jump around, but I just want to give this little preface. Thinking outside, I got you, brother, gratitude. Thinking outside the Western patriarchal box. Just like get the 1828 Webster Dictionary and research what an American is and read it all. Don't just read a line or two, read it all. Get the 1828 Webster Dictionary and read what an American is. Then after you get that, then I'm gonna get you Vladimir Dale's dictionary, and it's gonna show what an ARAP is. Not an A-R-A-B, but an A-R-A-P. I'm gonna show in the Book of Mormon who the Book of Mormon is clearly talking about. The idea that African religious traditions, rituals, practices, social customs, divine prophecy, and fundamental beliefs once dominated both the secular and the non-secular world in ancient times seems hard to imagine. Even more, the notion that African women, the oldest human beings on the planet, laid the theological foundation for Judaism, Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam under the auspices of the Black matriarchs seems even more incredible. Considering the current status of African women around the world, one could hardly be convinced that her matriarchal presence and enormous influence she wielded in the ancient world had far exceeded the limited physical, cultural, geographical, and political designations of which Africa and her religions are confined today. One could hardly imagine, too, that African religions had reached very high levels of theological and ritual development, and that they were the original home of the world's first great oracles, prophetess, and prophets. The absence of African women in the world history as major players, as opposite to exceptions to the norm, or mere appendages of great men, has been problematic and disturbing at best. For the first time, her story is being unearthed, revealed, and told. First prophetess in the world. The first prophetess in the world. The first prophetess of Mami Wata were African women. They were called Sibyls, meaning that they were Mami Wata, priestesses, and priests of the Oans. The more advanced of this matriarchal divine order are known as Amaganese. Remember I told y'all, let me find it, because it meant free men. This is so prophetic. I wish one of my muftis was on here. Oh, I don't have it on this. Man, I wish one of my muftis was on here. Amaguinesian. How you pronounce it? Amagazians. I have to find it in my notes. But anyway, Moor, it meant Berber, all of that. But historically, it meant free men. Anciently, it meant free men. And that's why they don't want you to know all this history. Amagani, or it was Amegansies. In this context, the ladies in Western Africa today, they can call up the dead and even the souls of the living. They were the ancient oracle used in ancient Greece, Roman, and Babylon. Their prophecies are the oldest in the world. It is through the divine blood of the Sibyl priestess that the patriarchal kingships of the pharaohs, the Hebrew prophets, and the Chaldean priests were born. The Sibyls, divine oracles of the ancestors and God. Webster Dictionary defines a Sibyl as a female prophet or a woman able to utter the oracles and prophecies of a god, or a woman who can foretell the future. Conversely, under the bitter Hebrew patriarchs, the Sibyls are condemned in their Bible as Bethalab, meaning evil serpent spirits, or mistress of the python. Sibyl, black doves, originally Holy Spirit. Universally known as the Black Doves, the Sibyls referred to themselves as sisters of Isis and sometimes prophetesses of the Black Diana. The dove symbolized the sacred soul or the Holy Spirit, an Afro-mystical symbol later adopted by the Christians. Also, I tell y'all in the biblical scripture, when Paul was on the road to Damascus, they already, in that culture, they were Asiatic, they already had their god Artemis, the Asiatic woman with all the breasts. And I can show you in all the museums, they changed the artifact from super dark to pale. No disrespect. It was the Sibyls matriarchal groups who settled at Asia Minor, ancient Turkey, and installed Mommy's worship. Mommy's worship, sound like God Artemis, don't it? More than 2,500 years before the Doric Greek and the Turk invasions. Mommy, whom they knew as Lokun with her serpents, was known as the manifestation of the divine Logos, which holy temples scattered all throughout Asia Minor, Cushitic Mitanni Empire, and the Mina and the Mene Aegean Islands. Don't y'all, that's why Medusa, when y'all see her with those snake hairs, y'all don't even know what it's talking about, what it represents. I told y'all they take everything about you and try to make it evil. Tasmanian devil, they try to make everything evil. They make a fake Pocahontas, but don't even tell you the historicalness of Pocahontas. Remember the Egon Sea? The Egon Sea? The Egon Sea? Oh, man. It's in your 1828 Webster Dictionary. Look up Hellenistic. Archaeological pottery. Shards date the black descendants of the Libyan Garmenids, present-day Alatas, Adagbe, Ga, I might be pronunciating it wrong, Adan, Gbe, and other African clans who had settled into ancient Babylon and elsewhere before the flood, to have arrived in Mayona or Iona as early as 4000 BCE, hailed as one of the seven wonders of the world. These sacred temples were maintained by the Sibyls and a contingent of Vestals, virgin priestesses, and eunuchs. Virgin priestesses and eunuchs. But then, in the biblical, they try to say the Asiatics, they castrated them. But that's a whole nother teaching. The original sacerdotal seat of the Sibyls, Africans, Black Buddhists, Umbrians, and Black Ethiopians erected civilizations in what is now Italy, thousands of years before the Anglo-Romans arrived. What is now called the seat of the Vatican in Italy was originally the sacerdotal seat of the ancient Black Sibyls. As the first established sacerdotal African matriarchs, the Sibyls' cultural and religion impact was arguably the most profound on ancient civilization than modern history has ever revealed or cared to admit. From Mesopotamia to Libya, Mizraim, Kemet, Egypt, Iona, Turkey, Greece, Rome, the Sibyls were the primary divine Vatican and absolute moral authority. You see? Sibyl's divine oracle basis for Western Bible. However, the Sibyls' most significant contribution were their famous oracles containing the divine prophecies that would utter in trance possession. The prophecies would be carefully written down by their assistants and compiled into books. These prophetic proses were the basis for the Greek and Roman tragedies and plays. These prophetic books were later collected by the Roman authorities and soon became the sole and undisputed precursor to the Western Christian Bible, and would later lay the ecclesiastical foundation of Western civilization. Over the millenniums, other Sibyl prophecies, oracles, and revelations were systematically retrieved and purchased, stolen, or haphazardly collected by various means, all throughout the ancient world where their temples existed. It was these books that would later be plagiarized, revised, or altered, and compiled into one holy book known as the Sibylline Oracles. They would later become the center of the bitter doctrinal or hearsay wars between the warring Levitical Jews and the emerging Roman Vatican authority. As the African matriarchal power began to decline and her colonies taken over by foreign conquerors, it was the thrones and sacerdotal power and prophecies of the Sibyls that was stolen from them by the emerging Roman Church. Their religions were later labeled as pagan, heathen, under a now racialistic Roman authority. The emerging Roman Church, in their ignorance and ambition, acquired and doctored the Levite Jews' corrupted version of the Sibyl prophecies until one could hardly distinguish one forgery from another. Some of the prophetic books were used by the Vatican to compile what is known today as the Judeo-Christian Bible, crediting their authorship to conspicuous Roman and other male prophecies. Just like when we talk about Flavius Josephus, that's a pen name. Those books for which it was hard to conceal, pen name is a pseudonym. Their African matriarchal organs were simply destroyed or to hearsay, relegated to hearsay. Gender of God, originally feminine. The gender of God, originally feminine. That's why I be laughing at my Moors and they studying something else and they out Islam. You can be whatever or Christian or European or Negro Christian. But then I said, but at the beginning they were in the Zodiacus, and then they don't know the history of our affairs, and it represents what it represents in a certain context. When you're dealing with the inner, when you're dealing with the Gnostic, and in one context, our affairs mean the birth cycle, 9 to the 9th power. It represented the white faith with the gold tassel represents our Asiatic women, represent the birth cycle. This whole gold tassel right here, mundane ball, it represents something. It represents something. And if you don't understand that, I ain't here trying to convince you, but we talk about originally. The gender of God, originally feminine. The gender of God was later changed from feminine to masculine, originally within each prophetic verse. It is claimed the Sibyls made praises to Mami, or Our Lady, and proclaimed that she was greater than any other god in the world. The Roman senator, Cicero, the orator, writes that the last 3 books of the Sibyl hierophile were deliberately burned in a fire by the Roman governor, Stilicon the tyrant. Stilicon was eternally hated by all of Rome for his sacrilegious act, which prompted a universal reaction from poets, scholars, musicians alike. So worship was the Sibyl of Cuma, C-U-M-E-A, that she was immortalized by all of Rome in one of her appellations, Europha, for which Europe is allegedly named. Allegedly. Allegedly. Symbol groups originally persecuted ones. It was this African traditional religionist group, and not the so-called Christians, who were the actual ones persecuted and finally enslaved. When you research Oliver Cromwell and what he did, man, a lot of that, and when you see who he were killing, when you see the dumb diverses, when you see a lot of historical things that a lot of us don't really know, and we just be split off at the mouth, we should never have this inside fight with our empresses. And I'm showing you historical history. It was the symbol style of prophecy and magic that will later be imitated by a militant faction from these patriarchal Levitical groups, whom, envious of her global positioning, rebelled the divine matriarchal order and seized their temples and overthrew their priesthoods. In their jealousy, hatred, and rebellion of her divine authority, the Levitical Jews elevated their original minor deity. And that's what I feel a lot of Negroes will do. A lot of Negroes, no disrespect to no one, if they don't like, say, the Asiatic woman in power, they'll team up with the enemy to overthrow the woman. And then they'll get took out. Because they'll use you to take your own out. They'll use you to take your own out. That's how you know a Negro can be bought for some change. Jehovah, but I'm just using the word as an insult to her. Together, Jehovah and his patriarchal clan absurd her sacramental and secular power, and from that moment on, they have worn it as their own. Listen, let me tell y'all something else. This is one thing that we don't know about history. Just like the skull and bones, when you see, you don't ever think where they got that skull from, that indigenous head from. Like, it's so much history that we don't know. That's why I said it's a part of history that I would just had the honor and the privilege to be introduced to as a map and a guide. And I bring it back to my people. That's why I said, I'm not here to tell nobody nothing. I'm like, listen, the common denominator is I hope we know who we are. Because misnumbered black people don't have an agenda. Millions of her people were murdered or enslaved, and millions scattered to the four winds all across the world. The historical evidence shows that it was these groups and not the Christians who were the actual ones persecuted and finally enslaved. The New Testament is actually a historical chronicle of the final destruction of all remnants of African matriarchal authorities. Books that were politically and not divinely inspired, which is why the Levitical Jews, enemies of the Roman Church, refused to recognize them as authentic. Civil tradition live on in West Africa. Man, just like when I show y'all the Igbo and the Igbo, nobody can deny what I'm saying. Those are the original Jews. I got the documents. Even European professors have stayed with these people. The ancientness. So it's no disrespect. Your culture is all over there. Only thing somebody did is came and saw what you was doing and copied you. These is facts. The history of the symbol is not entirely dead. In West Africa, there lives a matriarchal order of women who call up the dead. Many lineages of these women were also sold into slavery in America. Many black women are born not knowing that their suffering stems from their disconnection with their ancient rights and spiritual duty to continue the work of their ancient mothers. The suppression of the ancient history of the African matriarchs and their contributions to the world. Magic, spirituality, and prophecy is one of the greatest cover-ups and divine tragedies in human history. This author remains convinced that until this history is restored and African women are accorded their rightful place in the world, there will probably never be any peace. And it's no disrespect to the man. It's no disrespect. That's why they always try to get us caught up in things. Oh, look, that's a mermaid. They always get you caught up in mystic stuff. Think about it. If you start thinking about just attentive and see how things was turned in reverse to make it caricature. Look at this right here. I'm gonna read the heading of what you're looking at right here. I'm gonna read it. Above is a medieval Roman catacomb illustrating a Mami Sybil priestess Amenganezi, reposed against the sacred ark. Resting in her hand, she had the African ancestor oracle serpent. Emanating around her head is the golden nimbus halo. The golden nimbus halo. Look up, you see that? You see that around her head? The golden nimbus halo? You see that? You see in the biblical pictures of the so-called Christ and the Messiah, you always see a halo over the head. Think about what I'm saying, man. You know? Laced with a garland of mistletoe, sacred to the African thunder god Zeus. You see? Dionysus, Bacchus, and King. So listen, remember in the Apocrypha, when I be telling my misnomer Hebrew Israelites, because that's an oxymoron, they talk about, I said those were certain Europeans that saying that when they were under the European leadership, they were better. And they wanted to go back under King Bacchus. Zeus, the Roman. Oh, man. A pre-Christian solar symbol representing her moose or her avatar status. You remember the movie Avatar? Her avatar status? The feminine world, the Radha, the Radha, the moose, the masculine, aka Moses, is the exact same equivalent as Messiah, Savior, meaning bearers of divine truth and light. And additionally, the word Mago or Mago, M-A-G-O, is the feminine counterpart. Is the feminine counterpart to the M-A-S-C, to the word Magi, meaning masters of divine spirit and esoteric knowledge. That's why I'll be telling a whole bunch of our misnomer black people, we don't even know our culture. When the misnomer black people see a turban, the first thing, are you Muslim, you Islam? When you see my fez and all this, you have no idea. I get the book, The Chosen Ones, and I'll show you one picture of Wentworth Matthews and them in New York with the Moorish Zionist Jews of the Moorish Zionist Temple. And then I'll show you the Ethiopian rabbi Abdullah. The Ethiopian rabbi Abdullah, look him up. He saved the European Neville Goddard, high thinker. And turbans was worn by the misnomer black man, which symbolized the magical workers of the East. Research what I'm telling you. The use of mermaid imagery in the Mamata Vodum tradition has been a dominant feature since the beginning of time. The oldest representations of Isis, Mami, Ategratis, Awusa, Dinsu, Astar, were that of a serpent, fish, and mermaid. During ancient times, African and Afro-Elamite matriarchal religions reached high levels of civilization. And its architecture, sacerdotal rites, elaborate vestments, and heuristic possessions, celebrations covered the entire ancient world. They dominated the religions, political, and popular cultures of colonial and classical Greece and Rome. The prophecies and wisdom of the Sibyls and other African esoteric, because you had the exoteric and the esoteric priesthood, were central to Christianity's ecclesiastical development and Levitical Judaism survival. After the military defeat and decline of Africa, patriarchal world hegemony, the Roman Church began to emerge. You know, they then exploited and plagiarized the Sibyl prophecies and observed their sacred rites and the Vatican seat of divine power in Italy. They credited the prophetic works to obscure, no disrespect, white males, whom they labeled as prophets and saints. They then waged holy war against the Sibyls, later accusing them of Turanian. That sound familiar? The Tartars. That sound familiar? All you got to do is read the one word Tartarians. The European agree with me. None of that African slavery stuff happened like that. That's why they take everything and try to make it scary. Research in your biblical history, Tartar, they try to make it seem like a place of hell. You don't even know your history. Heathenism. The Roman catacombs became the burial for many of these persecuted and murdered African martyrs. The Sibyls and others were buried by their followers in these dark, musky tombs. Don't that sound like whom? Haram Mabith in your biblical scripture? Jebel, Jeblim, and Jeblum. And then they had a jubilee. Their beloved entering late at night to offer food, drink, and prayer and song. The use of undergrounds and the ancient Egyptian and Afro-Chaldean religious customs can be linked to the slave survival practices in America. They are an important historical glimpse into the socio-religious and political world of the Afro-Greco-Romans as they fought for their religious and cultural survival. It's just so much, man. Like I said, I don't want to just get all into it. I would love for brothers and sisters to get a hold of this wisdom because there's so much. I just want to try to give people a little tittle. African matriarchal principle of divine completenaries. Carnaginian mask amulet of black mommy deity Tanit, also known as the Libyan Liberia, a star. Above, she is shown wearing a full beard to exemplify not her bisexuality, as is often misunderstood by Western interpreters when they be seeing like a lot of pharaohs and they be like, well, she Asiatic, she got a beard and all this. You misquoting it, but rather her divine complementary nature of both the feminine and the masculine principles. That's why in Egypt history you see the beard, because it's showing her divine masculine and feminine. Just like when you see the Baphomet, masculine and feminine. But we're not catching it. We let somebody come up with a whole fake story. Principle. In reality, the above is a modification of the divine seven serpents, the seven African powers. Just like when I show you the Gautama Buddha that sits on the seven serpents. All I'm showing you all through your culture. I show you all through this connection in history. The Gautama Buddha that sits on the seven serpents, the same thing, the seven African powers, and thus a manifestation of Tanit as the premier oracle of the first ancestral masculine, sunfire deity, Adama, or Bacchus, the white colon around her eyes, and her cowrie-shaped mouth, I'm going to show you all the picture, represents her ability to see and communicate in the world of spirits. This amulet was worn by Carthaginian soldiers to protect them from death during battles, and common folk to protect against the evil eye. Now, if y'all ever see one of my necklaces that I got from my Santeria, my Orisha, and you will see my crown that I've got, and they red and they black beads, but I also have the shells, and it comes from things were given to me from priests, and it's like, because they say this exhumes who you are. When I have the pleasure to deal with other cultures. And this amulet was worn by the Carthaginian soldiers to protect them from death during battles, and common folk to protect them against the evil eye. And when mine get here, you will see it. You'll be able to see it in color. Look at this one at the bottom. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna read the caption of this. It's just like the Sphinx. You don't know the real history of the Sphinx. Like, it's so much history. It's hidden in masonry. A lot of it is. Taken from Greek, vase is the black Libyan Athene, Aneth, whose worship was transported to Afro-Greece when the matriarch fled the patriarchal takeover in ancient Egypt and Libya. She is seen sporting a beard, representing not her bisexuality, but rather her totemic aspect as an ancestral black dove of divine prophecy or ancestral oracle for the thunder god Zeus. So when you see brothers that don't know science or they get caught up in spookism, they'll see the Baphomet, which is written Kabbalistically, Tip, Hob, Abs, Abba. They'll never understand. They never understand. I'll give you a little bit more. Why were their prophecies stolen and corrupted, and their holy temples destroyed and converted into churches and mosques. Were African and later all, women were no longer welcome at the hymn. Why was even the mention of the black goddess's name meant sure death, or practice of her sacred rites and rituals guaranteed social ostracism, persecution, and even death? But the European Mason know what I'm talking about. They even have the Asiatic woman on their fez, and they tassel pinned down, and they ain't gonna tell you nothing. It's death for them, and we gonna let them come with that crap, and then we gonna let our own brothers and sisters come with that crap. The story of the Sibyls is long and complicated because it has been so badly disguised, corrupted, and carefully hidden by Western religious historians and the Catholic Church, and even our own so-called black preachers. That's why they'll never talk about Ruth the Moabitess or Termir. That's why you got a lot of them Southern Baptist preachers. Oh, the woman can't get behind the pulpit. Man, nobody don't give a damn about this Europe westernized bull crap you talking about. That's crazy. Talk about this is sacred ground. Well, the Bible, to be clear for all them goofy Negro preachers, the church, the building is not the church. And that's biblical. Fact check me. The Gospels ain't talking about no church as no damn, no building as the church. Any fool say that, talk about this some sacred ground, not no building, because that ain't what the Gospel's talking about. No, church ain't no stupid building. If you stay there and you a preacher and you quote that, you definitely a fool. Because I don't need no building for the Spirit to manifest itself. Got to be crazy. The people of the church, not no dumb building. And that's biblical. However, some of it has been unearthed and is now being rewritten and recounted here in the near to original African perspective for the first time, because the Sibyls are still being born in the ghettos of America to the shanty villages of Africa, and because it is necessary to place African spirit within its ethnic and cultural millennial, the rightful place of Africa must be restored. And that's what I'll be saying. Culture. When somebody say, "Oh, it's a culture," well, the etymology, the origin of culture is called. We know that, but we have a culture. We're not gonna let nobody get us with no negative connotation. We're not falling for no linguistic apartheid no more. We have culture, and nobody is stripping us from our culture. It's one nationality, many cultures. Nobody has the right to strip you from your culture. No man, no power, no principality, no one. The place of African women as the first center of sacramental power is not political. She did not usurp her divine providence and authority from anyone. Her place is the manifestation of the original and natural order, as willed through the divine logos, responsible for establishing human societies, moral law, religious institution, and sacred authority to maintain order on earth. And if you are Moorish American, you got to know what I'm talking about, because you know what I'm talking about when I say the Zodiacus. If you don't know the Zodiacus, that's what all them Moors was talking about. All them old Moors, then they done switched up because they tried to make a dollar. We talk about the science of Moorish science. Anything else should be building financially, not no criminal stuff or begging for nothing, like no slave. It is hoped that in doing so, a new paradigm might be established, in which the African people and the world might view the patriarchal religions, orders forced upon the world, as the only divine paths to know their God. And this is the funny thing that really gets me with these poor, broke nigga Moors, excuse my candor, with feds on. I call them sovereign citizens. They talk all this stuff about the government and what they ain't gonna do. As soon as something happen, oh, we need some donations because somebody needs some medical attention. But you only hear talking about, oh, you don't participate with no white man stuff and this. But what medical attention you getting ready to get? You going to the goddamn ran hospital. You ain't going to no Moorish hospital. And I see these people over here, we're trying to collect some money for the Grand Sheik to go to the hospital or get some medical attention. Or when the Moor died, peace be among them, they say they trying to raise some money to bury him. What are you talking about? You see the goofiness in these men? What time we got? Okay, we got a little bit more time. The first Genesis, when the goddesses spoke through the African woman. The Sibyls are descendants of the first Neolithic clans of African warrior queens, healers, prophetess, and priestess who were on the first ship built by the goddesses. I showed y'all. I showed y'all in the Misnomer Black Man can prove who he is based off the Bible. And I showed y'all that in biblical history to establish the new world after the Great Flood. That's why if you research the Epic of Gilgamesh, if you start researching the book of Enoch, you will start connecting things. The patriarchal oral history only records that being men, namely Noah, and his three racially different sons. However, this is mythical and politically and not historical. These three sons were all African. How can my mom and my dad have three different goddamn nationalities? They might have a son and he might come out with a pigment disorder. He might be an albino, but he's the same origin, same blood, same eye, same family. Stop the cap. And there were African women, high priestess called Sibyls, who issued forth the institutions from the divine African mother, Mami, as God, on how to build the Argos, aka the Ark, and giving forth the prophecy pertaining to the end of the world, as they knew in ancient Babylon. These are oracles, these are stories. And when people say the Bible is fake and then you don't know your history, that's just like saying your history is fake. Remember, it's just like somebody that lost the battle telling the story. It's going to be some truth in that. Oral tradition also has it that when men revolted against the authority of Mami, they separated themselves from the divine African mother. In one Afro-Chaldean, Riki, ancient Babylonian account, Mami is worshipped as the goddess, Aurora, Estar. Estar meaning queen or lady. It's not a proper name, but rather one of the oldest appellations. Mami is a holy, honorific title denoting great reverence attributed to any African goddess, particularly of the waters. As the Afro-Chaldean account goes, Estar, in her inconsolable grief, angered at the rebellion and betrayal of her prophesies through one of her sibyls, the following fate that would befall her beloved African people. Spake Estar like a child uttered, the great goddess of her speech, all to corruption. I turned, and then I, in the presence of the gods, prophesied. And as I prophesied in the presence of the gods, evil to evil were devoted, all my people. And I prophesied, I, the mother, have begotten my people. And like the young of the fishes, they filled the sea. The gods concerning the spirits were weeping with me. The gods in seats, seated in lamentation, covered their lips for the coming evil. As promised, for their great sin against her laws, she retaliated and inundated their world, their nation, as they knew it, with a great and mighty flood. Think about it. However, before doing so, she gathered her devoted and preserved her sacred seed inside the blood of the sibyls. Under those divine guidance, she led them and their families, along with the great elder Io, Oannes, Noah, and his sons in the New World. It was in her sacred Arga, or Argos, the moon, the crescent boat, the moon, the crescent boat, the moon, the crescent boat, that she guided them across the great dark mysterious sea to the Aegean shores of Delos in Iona. I'm showing you ancient pictures. I'm going to show you a picture. Look at these black doves. Look at these black doves. I just want to show you things. They can't erase where we were. Ancient Roman catacomb drawings of sibyls, the black doves, sent out by Mami Estar to test for her dry land. Some accounts report that one of them returned carrying an olive branch. Don't that sound familiar? Which is credited as being sacred to the black goddess Minerva. She is one of the three major serpent water deities born at Lake Triton, daughters of the Nilus, aka the Nile, because life was always where? Created by the water. I hope y'all connecting this science. Just like when y'all read the book Nile Valley Civilization. It was the Africans and Proto-Elamites who settled at Asia Minor, ancient Turkey. and installed her worship more than 2,500 years before the Doric, the Greek, and the Turk invasion. The dove symbolized the sacred soil, or her Holy Spirit, an Afro-mystical symbol. These are Afro-mystical symbols, later adopted by Christians. You can research this at the St. Callistus Catacombs in Rome, 199 to 217 BC. Busali, 1999. Those doves that were sent forth were the black doves, or the transmigrated souls of the Sibyls, whose priesthoods were already well known and long established in ancient Ethiopia, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and other ancient lands that were spared from the Great Flood. We know this to be so because Herodotus, you know who Herodotus is, the European scholar that everybody, when you hear the Europeans be talking, okay, who actually met one of the temple Sibyl priestess, further recount the story directly told to him of how they arrived in the new land and established the sacred Omphi temples in Libya and at the Dona, Delphi, and Deolis of the Grecian islands. He writes, and I quote eloquently with a silver tongue. So now we're going to start discrediting the people that has an account that say they saw, because I'm not. At Dona, the priestesses who delivered the oracles have a story that 2 black doves flew away from Thebes in Egypt, and one of them alighted or landed at Dona or Dodona, the other in Libya. The former perched on an oak and speaking with a human voice told them that there, on that very spot, should be an oracle of Zeus, aka Horus. Those who heard her understood the words to be a command from heaven, and at once obeyed. The dove which flew to Libya told the Libyans to found the oracle of Ammon, located at the Osiris at Siwa, which is also an oracle of the thunder god Zeus. So then what's the thunder god? When I remember I told y'all what the Smithsonian have hid, remember the thunderbird? I sent this to all my muftis last night. I sent y'all so much history about these giants. You're going to start connecting things. You're like, wait a minute, thunderbird, thunder god. And you're going to start seeing all these things and monuments and things. Start thinking about this. And then you're going to start connecting books that was took out the Bible. You're going to be like, wait a minute. Because you can go to the continent of Africa, what a person and a small American would think. You might think you're seeing a giant. But that's a whole nother history. That's a whole nother history. Hold on 1 second. I got to grab something. I don't get caught up in false history. People be trying to say, well, this man said this. I deal with history. Just like this history. It's like this history. It's just what it is. We can't deny history. We might have a lack of understanding, which a lot of brothers and sisters do. So I just wanted to talk about that. Let me see. Let me get, maybe if I get, okay. Okay, it's the thunder god. The people who gave me this information were the 3 priestesses at Dodona, the eldest, Tamarith, the next, Nekarnda, the youngest, and their account is confirmed by Dodianus, who have any connection with the temple. Other accounts differ on how they arrived in Dodona. It is said that they were in such high demand throughout the ancient world that they were often stolen from Africa, sold as slaves by the Afro-Phoenicians, Carthaginians, and forced to establish their ancestral and Totonic oracles. Then Herodotus concludes, I think that if it be true that the Phoenicians carried off the holy women and sold them for slaves, afterwards, while undergoing servitude in those parts, she built under a real oak, a temple. Then, having acquired a knowledge of the Greek tongue, she set up an oracle. She also mentioned that her sister had been sold for a slave into Libya by the same persons as herself. The Donians called the women doves because they were foreigners and seemed to them to make a noise like birds. A lot of times you hear those women in fraternities, they be ski-wee, making all those noises, they don't even know their cultures. After a while, the dove spoke with a human voice by calling the dove black. The The Dodanians indicated that the woman was an Egyptian, and certainly the character of the oracles at Thebes and Dodana is very similar. It seems to me a sufficient proof that in Egypt these practices have been established from remote antiquity, while in Greece they are only recently known. Quoting archaeologist Stecchini when presenting his findings to the Archaeological Institute of America, Stecchini states that, and I quote, his name is spelled Stecchini. I maintain that the historical account, myths, and legends and some monuments of Delphi indicate that the oracle was established there by the pharaohs of the Ethiopian dynasty. This is the reason why the Greeks portrayed Delphus, the eponymous hero of Delphi, as a Negro. These written accounts are the only written records available documenting the historical existence of the Sibyls and their prophetic oracles. These historical accounts also establish their existence centuries after arrival in the New Land, after their temples had already been seized and renamed Zeus and Apollo by the pharaonic Sun Thunder Temple priests of Amun. You know, it's just history. What is more important, y'all, is the first thing the Sibyls and the Aya or the Ayah or the Io, which is Noah, the IOA, which is Noah, did was construct the temple, the shrine, and make sacrifices to Mami. They installed and consecrated the sacred shrines to Mami and their minor gods. This they did in Libya and at Delos, Delphi, and Dodana. Afterwards, some of these groups settled into Asia Minor, which is modern-day Turkey, and installed a shrine to Mami, never having broken their ancestral ties with Kemet, Egypt, Nubia, Libya. We talk about Egypt, but we don't talk about Nubia, Libya, Syria, Palestine, Palith. They soon developed a sophisticated trade, into the world, which will later be known as the Great Mayan and the Mycenaean matriarchal civilizations. It was there, legend has it, that became the new abode for their lineage of African gods. They preserved their history in poetic, prophetic prose that will later be used as the basis for Greek and Roman tragedies and plays. All Greek and Roman tragedy plays, when you see the history, they talking about you. It ain't no disrespect. I already proved this in academia and scholarship. Everything was whitewashed. They will lay the ecclesiastical foundation for the collection of the apocryphal books, later to be modified as the Christian Bible. During the ancient time, leaders customarily applied allegory and poetic rhyme to conceal. You know what allegorical is? As well as to commit to the heart esoteric truth that were not meant for the masses. That's why people can't understand, because the Bible is written in such analogy, parable, and symbology, is written in such a fashion that it must be deciphered. It's gematria all through that Bible. It's language all in that Bible. And you just can't read over words that what words meant back then, and you just say, oh, I think it mean this, and it don't mean that in that context, because it has to mean what it was meant when it was written. So if you're not understanding the esoteric and the exoteric and the analogy, the parable of symbology, you're lost in mistranslation or transliteration. The priesthood of the Sibyls were even more, they were even more well off. They were part of the divine cycle of the procreation, preservation, death, renewal, rebirth, which was believed to take place every 600 or 6,000 years. The above allegorical story of their arrival upon the Argos Ark with Noah and his 3 sons after surviving the great flood, aka destruction, is simply representing of his divine cycle. A divine cycle. Like when I talk about the constellations, a divine cycle, when I tell people the Bible is the constellations, but they say the Bible, you aren't talking about the constellation and astrology. Yes, you do. If you, God named everything. All the constellations is in the Bible. You missing it. You just missing it. We ain't talking about going through the mail with no magic trick. We're not talking about that. But that's why we don't see the power in things. Why? Because certain people kept it away from you and they use it for power. Why they laugh at you and use you as a slave. It's a divine cycle. Another example, and all European Masons know what I'm talking about, especially if they Scottish right. The joke of masonry is our Asiatic brothers. Why? Because they won't speak like I'm speaking. Another example would be that of the 9 Muses, the masculine Moses, originating out of ancient Egypt. They were the feminine counterpart of the Messiah, the Savior. Each one represented a symbol of the divine incarnation of the 9 cycles. 9 to the ninth power of 9. The Radas, the rays, divine saviors, who had already manifested as the new Messiah of healing and prophecy, and to announce the coming end of a divine cycle. In short, the Mus, the symbols, were literally the light of the divine wisdom. There it is. That's why in your biblical scripture, they say, if anything, seek wisdom. And what is related to wisdom in the Bible? Sophia, Sophia, the female counterpart. But you don't see that. The divine spark of the divine African mother as Mami. They were symbolically the divine rays of truth, imitating from the crowns of the masculine, the sun, the thunder gods. During the times of preservation, each Mus offered the gift of the specific talents, music, art, science, literature. However, during the periods of the cycle or the cyclic renewal, one would manifest from among them Sibyls to become what? The prophetic voice of the divine African mother, the Mami. I got 10 more minutes and I'm out. I'll give you a little bit of the origin of the name Sybil. The origin. The name Sybil, S-I-B-Y-L, is of a mixed origin. It's sacred initiatory title that the ancient Africans called the prophetess of the Mami Watas. According to some, it is derived from the black Ethiopian Cushite known as the Pythagoreans, or the, how am I pronounced it? The Sargans, or the Sargans, Phrygians, natives of Mycenae. Their name of endearment of Mami was Sybil, or Cybele, C-Y-B-E-L-E, Cybella, Cybele, Cabell, K-Y-B-E-L-E, C-Y-B-Y-L-L-E, C-Y-B-E-L-L-A. No matter what it is, that's the name. Just like when you go all in history, you will see more spelled different ways, M-O-H-R. When you look at a lot of poetry writers, Othello the Moor, you'll see more written M-O-H-R. You'll see more written M-O-R. You'll see more written M-U-U-R. Still more. Queen of Heaven, Mother of the God. Some scholars believe that the Sybil is a Greek corruption of the two words, S-I-O-I, meaning God, and Bull, B-U-L-E, meaning the council. Both words are derived from their Afro-Elliptic dialect of ancient Messenia. Combined, it reads as Sabul, which phonetically evolved into English as how it's spelled now, S-I-B-Y-L. Phonetically evolved. That's how things evolve, phonetically. Think about it. Because during the dictionary wars, which a lot of Moors, they always talk about some black laws and all this, and they always quoting dictionaries. Man, I don't care. A lot of things wasn't spelled like that. So you have to find out the context and the etymology and the origin before you can have a conversation. Additionally, Webster's dictionary defines a Sybil as a female prophet or a woman able to utter the oracles and prophecies of a god, or a woman who can foretell the future. Conversely, under the bitter Hebrew patriarchs, the Sybils are condemned in their Bible as Belial, meaning evil serpents. I told y'all that. I just wanted to touch on that. It's so much, man. I don't want to give too much and throw away too much. They even got monuments that's found and these are in people personal libraries and things. When they got all your monuments, That's a red clay vessel of black Menona priestess in cornrow hair. She got cornrow hair during the Greek colonization. The entire culture, religious, economic, and political substratum of what came to be credited as Greek culture was actually that of those black matriarchs who fled the patriarchal takeover in Libya, Egypt, and Ethiopia. All y'all got to do is read Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James. Greek history is nothing but stolen Egyptian history. No disrespect to no one. Ain't no disrespect. Even Herodotus tell you that the earliest temples of Delphi was a thatched hut in Libya. The dwelling houses were mostly built of reed and mud. There can be little doubt that, like the African kraals, which they resembled, they were built by African women. He also reports the capital of Libya became the Paris of Asia Minor, greater than Greece. One important than most elegant of cloth, perfumes, even in your Bible. I'll show y'all the kente cloth is in your Bible. It's in your Bible. All in your biblical scripture. This stuff comes from the ancient women. And we let retardo fardos and men that don't know our history. They don't know the rich history of our empresses to play a game. I ain't talking about no political game. I'm talking about no separation game. We don't play no separation game. We don't play no separation game. We have to know who we are first and know the important role that the man and woman play in our culture. That's number one. And once we respect each other, then we move to the political fight. But we ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. Not when I hear men say, well, that's what messed up with the world because women want to be in leadership position. That's asinine. Women were always in leadership position. Always. Especially if you know your history. You just got to say you don't know your history. That's all. I mean, it's so much. I got too much monuments, too many artifacts to show you. It's like this will take me hours and hours, and I have to just break it down. The Sybils' influence in ancient Rome. I mean, all this Sybil history, even in the Moors history. That's why I say as Moors, how can you diss the Asiatic woman? How can you diss the Zodiacus? How can we diss that? That's the retarded Negroes that let politics and religion and things twist your mind. And that's what's been happening today. Because we don't know our history. When I show you Moorish history, when I show you Sybils in your Moorish history or your coat of arms or your family crest. When you know this, because if you know your mother, if you know your history, then you know you can't be bamboozled. Can't nobody just be speaking loud. Let me show y'all the Sybil Queen mothers in ancient history. Sybil Queen mother, Triple Crown, as the Black Diana. Who do they pray to? The Black Madonna, per se. I hope y'all catching this. She was worshipped as what? The triple head, Janus, in Rome. The double coiled scarf, representing the twin serpent of Mami. There go that right there. That's that. Research what I'm telling you. For these brothers that don't know history. We got to give Caesar back what he is. I'm going to give you another one. Figure 23. Sybil prophetess. Listen to this. Sybil prophetess on the Moorish coat of arms. You see that? When I'm going to go get my coat of arms jacket with my family coat of arms. I'm going to break this down very simple for you. So here's the little light jacket I got made. It got my, my 7 on the front. compass and square, how we circumscribe the world. But here, right here, that's my coat of arms. That's my family crest. That's my coat of arms, my family crest. When I'm telling you history, your last name is not no slave name. No disrespect. The Europeans, Albion, Troglodytes, they named themselves after you. They tried to change your name. If you know the history of Empress El Bey, Gostin El Bey, when they tried to change her name from Tunic to Turner, from Washita to Washington, your last name ain't no slave. It's your coat of arms or your family crest. And you annex your El and Bey to the name that your mother gave you. You annex your name, your foremothers and forefathers. I just wanted to show that. I just want to show that little bit of history. And as you start seeing these coat of arms, you start seeing these Moors heads. These ain't no slaves. These ain't no slave. Then I start showing you Thomas Jefferson Quran and all that. And I show you when you see Thomas Jefferson, and you will see the Moor on his horse. And Thomas Jefferson is dressed like the young Moor. These is facts. So let's go to figure 23. Civil prophetess on Moor's coat of arms. On Moor's coat of arms. No military leader will conduct tactical operations without first consulting a Sibyl and making the necessary propositions or directions or orders to Mami and the ancestors long before the use of the European saints. Images of Mami or a Sibyl was worn on the coats of arms or hung outside of businesses for protection and good luck. And when you go through Rome, when you go through Europe and all those areas, you're going to see it. You're going to see it all on the monuments. You're going to see all the age. You're going to see who ruled. You're going to see it. I'm going to show you another one. Listen right here. Here goes another picture. With your eyes, what I'm telling you, you're going to be able to trace yourself all through history. Sibyl Queen on the Moor coats of arms, wearing 6-pointed crown of Mami Tanit. All African queens were Sibyls, but not all Sibyls were queens or prophetess. The Vatican's hidden history unveiled Chaldean Sibyl on Sistine Chapel. Enlargement of Black Chaldean Persian Sibyl prophetess Sembeth, holding her book of prophecy, Sistine Chapel in Rome. Here she is right here. They know it. Here it is right here. Both pictures. Watch, I'm going to read the next one. Below, Michelangelo, fantasy of Black Chaldean Persian Sibyl prophetess Sembeth, assigned a meager place in corner, arrow bottom right, while the white female image is assumed to be her, the systematic misrepresentation of Black gods, deaths, and heroes as white was a gradual and subtle process until Europe's supremacy was assured. Then all Black images were reproduced as white or reclassified as slaves, or their images and history destroyed entirely. In the book of Maccabees, it tells you that the European, the heathen, tried to whitewash themselves in a history book. And in Russian Icon by Vladimir Ivanov, it's telling you, because you see the European in the damn caves whitewashing the damn pictures before they be published in the damn books. And then the Europeans will tell you the only thing that Europeans have ever did in history is whitewash the history books. They'll tell you this. The European will tell you. That's why I be laughing at my brothers with that Negro, that pro-Black dumb stuff. Trying to act like our history, our women didn't sit on the throne together, not knowing our rich history. That's what's wrong with us. A lot of us are lukewarm, just sitting on, hanging on like loose teeth. That's all that's happening. You see Michelangelo changing it, the Sibyl to white. And just like I showed y'all Artemis, when Paul was on the road to Damascus in your Bible, they already had Artemis. I told you, they already try to take your gods and try to twist them as to evil and pagan. And then they changed the god Artemis, which was the Asiatic woman with all breasts. They changed it. They whitewashed that too. Romanized. the whitewashing era. Symbols representing the four seasons in ancient Rome. Symbols representing the four seasons in ancient Rome. Symbols representing the four seasons in ancient Rome. I'm going to show you European motifs of civil priests. Like I just showed y'all the coat of arms, like I just showed y'all my coat of arms, my family crest. When I showed y'all your last name ain't no slave, it's your coat of arms or your family crest. You annex your El Abbey. I just showed y'all my Goodman family coat of arms. Now, I'm going to read this what this is. Above, examples of motif plates representing the black mommy goddess Diana. For centuries, European women graced their clothes and vanity furniture with these African images as the symbol of wisdom and sensuality. When you start looking at all Europe and furniture in the first century, you're going to see all Moorish history. You're going to see all Moorish history. You're going to see this. And this is what I be telling people that don't stay on. A lot of our people, they fall off, they be lukewarm. I say, if you stay on, you will be past, you will be way farther. But see, our people, it's like ADHD. They don't understand that you must have a good map and a guide. It's like going out to battle. You can't do this alone. And that's what people want to do. They think a book is going to save them. Man, I'll burn all the books up. You're dealing with the book of Eli. This is supreme mathematics. This is supreme Hika. You got to use it. You have to be powerful in real life. And I'm telling you, we powerful. Because when two or more gather, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I be telling my people, especially people in Arizona that know me. What's our problem? We should have been connected. You'll been got the vibration. You'll been know the signs. You'll give Caesar back what is his. You'll stop using words that denote to slavery. Talk about you some slave, some Negro, some African American. You'll stop letting them play that male and that female. You'll stop saying that women didn't rule history, and in the Bible, a man ruled. Yeah, because that was that European male stuff. But that ain't our history. That ain't even close to our history. This is my coat of arms. This is my family crest. The Goodman family crest. Not no slave. I ain't saying there wasn't no slaves. It's just like when let me tell y'all something. Because I'll be on campus tomorrow. It's just like now, no disrespect. What the powers that be, what academia doing now is telling these kids about some 1619 and the 1619 project. And talking about 1619 was the first time the African American slave came here. That's bullcrap. What about the people that was already here? In 1492, you fell upon the shores, 700 years, educated by the Moors. Who you think the Jews were? The Moors. That's asinine to say. And to say in 1619, when the first African slave came to Americas. Man, when the first Africans came to America. Stop that. That's cap. Christian motive of St. Michael murdering a black civil prophetess. Murdering a black civil prophetess. Look at the picture. You think they're killing some, they killing the devil or something. No, that's the civil prophetess. And you don't even know it. And you don't even know it because you don't know your history. If you knew your history, when you see that, you'll be like, dang, wait a minute. And we let our brothers and sisters roll with the dumb stuff. I'm gonna show you a Sybil doll buried in Rome. It'll take too long to break all this stuff down. It'll take too long. The black Sybils, don't you know, they Europeanized and concealed as Christians. All of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's 12 of them. Europeanized as Christians. There they go. I did this in academia in college. At GCU, you can hear a pin drop. You can hear a pin drop, standing ovation, and then them misnomer black professors be always talking about some Willie Lynch, and we came from some Africa, talking about some roots. I told them all that's fake. That damn professor couldn't say nothing. All propaganda. How you here teaching that mumbo jumbo, telling kids that they need that require reading is some stupid Willie Lynch. Destroyed that Eurocentric and that Negrocentric crap. Destroyed it in front of all her peers. Couldn't say nothing. Our own people the one that keep up the propaganda. So listen to how these symbols Europeanized and concealed as Christians. Listen to this. Keep in mind that the prophecies were made more than 3,000 years before Christ, and none of the church fathers had ever met a symbol. The attire that these women are adored in is not the traditional dress that the ancient symbols wore. Just like I told y'all, man, they always dress themselves after you. Just like the Celtic women you would see, and you would say they gypsies. No, they black like gypsies. It's stolen legacy. The symbols were the chief priestess of an African divine matriarchal order, completely demonized and forgotten by the church papal and Levitical Jewish priests who exploited and desecrated their ancient prophecies. They have been immortalized as European by famous painters across Europe, including Castagno, Castagno, Van Steele, Cavalier, Matteo di Siena, and Peruzzi. However, the famous of these paintings are those by Michelangelo at the Sistine Chapel. The first 5 originally depicted them situated alongside the Christian prophets. Until today, Africans and the world remain unaware of who they are, and that they were not European saints, nor were they martyrs of a patriarchal Euro-Western Christian or Judaic doctrine. It's just what it is. Here go another picture. I'm gonna show y'all pictures when they take everything and they try to make it scary. And you like, dang, your history, your science, oh, it's voodoo, it's black magic. No. Well, why you come to our area to get healed? Wasn't no science created in no Europe. The ancient African tradition of calling up the dead. Didn't so-called Jesus call up the dead? Didn't he? Didn't he? Lazarus, didn't he? If we talking about science, listen again, here again, another more. When I talk about coat of arms, listen clearly. We're not going to let nobody tell our history and then get us and don't research history. We just researching a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. We're not going to get in no politics and still not knowing who we are. We're not going to let the illiterate part of us tell us that a woman can't lead. And if a woman come down to leadership, they'll roll idiot. And I'm not talking about no one. I'm saying in general, women not the cause of the world being messed up. Why? Because our women always ruled the world. You got people like Judas. You got people that'll sell your whole mission out, what, for $1. That's what a lot of these Negroes that don't know policy and don't know politics, what would they say? And I'm not talking about nobody. I'm saying what the average nigga, what I heard doing when Trump was in office, we was getting money. And I said, well, how was you getting more money when Trump was office? Well, we had the PPP loan. Did you get one? No. Well, we had a stimulus. What's a stimulus? $2,000. So you happy for some change, sucker? That means you can be bought. Now, I'm not talking about no law and policy. I'm just saying on that perspective to say a woman can't rule the world. And that's why the world is messed up, or to make sound decisions. It's sad. So now let's look at this other coat of arms. Listen clearly. Listen clearly. The above featured on a Moorish coat of arms, this bat lady is none other than the Cuman symbol, the Cumean symbol, Hierophile, or one of the predecessors. They probably acquired their name bat symbol because the tomatic symbol of the bat signifies the Gentile, unobscured civil and shrewd character of this path of the symbol, rather than the stereotype dark black prophetess that they will later require. When you think it's something scary, and it's not. It was also the symbol of one who could call up and speak to the spirits of the dead, such as the ancient tradition of the Amazonians. Remember that? The free men, Marceau, the Amazonians or the Amazonians, same thing. You start seeing this history, and that and etymology and the origin of that is free men. It's free men. And certain Mamalisms or certain Mami Wada tradition in West Africa. During ancient times, the Sibyls would take the blood of a sacrificed bull and mix it with the secret beverage that they drank to induce trance possessions. This was simply one of many ways in which possession was achieved. During this trance state, the Sibyls would either roll about on the ground in full possession or march back and forth, uttering prophetic prose. Just like the Moors, when we talk about the Sufism, when you see them spinning in things. It's so much history. I'll give you another one. Just like when you see the European Jew taking a turkey twitch, that ain't original. They got that from Africa. They got that, once again, they're trying to say animal sacrifices, all this is evil and all this, but the European Jew, when they get that, the chicken and do all that, they got that from your culture. These big facts. I'll show you all this history. You had the unholy African mother, the papal wars against Mommy Isis, and the mystical power of African women. Here go another monument. We can trace our history all through the world. The Sibyl, and then they always demonize you by the church, as Eve can be found copulating with a serpent on the church ark of O or U, located in Haute-Garonne, a region of France. Degrading images such as these were displayed at more than 60 churches throughout France and were actually pre-emptive strikes against their powerful rival African temples of Mommy Isis, who the people were more devoted. The war raged for the destruction of African and African influence mystery schools by the growing Roman authorities was met with great resistance throughout the world. That's in the Toulouse Museum. And by 1500 and 1600, the war on African religious culture, when we talk about the dumb diverses and all this stuff, and clergy continued to be an important central target of the Vatican authorities. Its primary aim was not only to colonize and to pillage Africa, but also to destroy and obscure the direct ethnological, theological, cultural, linguistic link to their own sacerdotal knowledge, which they knew originated in Africa. And the divine serpent deity was central to Africa, matriarchal, oracular tradition. It is not being indigenous to European culture, only served to further perpetuate and to make believe the fantastical lies and myth of bizarre orgies, dark rituals, and African debauchery perpetuated by the church. Yep, got a little bit more. Over time, all of Europe began to formulate a white racial identity based upon specific phenotype, outer physical characteristics. Just like when I tell y'all about some Bloomback. All that caucus mouse, all fake. Bloomback, it's all fake theory, all fake. One of the indicators of the pure Aryan blood was not to possess a lineage of the Taurani, meaning black. In the Bible, Tartarian, and they try to always use your blackness to some evil or going to hell. But we know the place of the skull, Galafa. But then we know that means something else as well. The Taurians in Egypt were identified as those serpent worshippers who introduced the Mommy Isis tradition. In the Rome and Ireland, so connected, were the Nagas. I got to get my other book. Hold on, because all this, I told y'all it's gonna start connecting the Nagas. Now keep that in your head. The Nagas. And when I talk about the gods of Northern Buddhism, when I talk about the 7 serpents, I'm telling you, you're gonna start seeing you all through history, even in the Aztec. So when I talk about the Nagas, all you gotta do, if any of y'all be on YouTube, go on YouTube, Facebook, anything right now when you got a chance, and pull up, say on YouTube, say the little European boy in the spelling bee spelled niggas, and then it'll blow your mind. And then you will see how intelligent the young European, the young Albion, the young Trelodite young boy is. You'll see how intelligent he is. And the questions that he asks to make sure he's hearing what he's hearing. The young boy, this is a spelling bee. They ask him to spell nagas. He like, spell niggas. The origin of the word. Etymology, because you use it in a sentence. A royal people of such, blah, 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 niggas. He like, niggas? Ooh, he like, can you give me the origin of the word? Blah, 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 blah. He like, nah, niggas. Nagas, niggas. Serpent worshipers in a certain region of the world. Boom, he got it right. Research what I'm saying. So if a European boy know this and can ask the right questions to get the right answer, why not you? It ain't no excuse. You see in the medical field, you see the serpent going up the chalice. You see the Baphomet, you think, oh, it's something scary. You don't even know what that means. The serpent worshipers, aka with the colored races, that it became almost too exclusive, limitless for Aryan purity. So prejudiced were they against them that in 1865, James Ferguson, in his research on serpent worship, comments that, and I quote eloquently with the silver tongue, we have not in Germany, as we find in Greece, any trace of the underlying races of less intellectual Turanians who seem everywhere to have been the serpent worshipers. Who? Blacks, Negroes, all the world over. Ferguson James, tree and serpent worship, illustration of myth and art in India in the 1st and 4th centuries after Christ. It's in the Indian Museum of London, 1868, page 20. And I got the book. The European peasantry, by now in utter ignorance, were just recovering from the Dark Ages. We never been in no Dark Ages. Ivan Van Sertima told you in the Golden Age of the Moors. I got these for you. Look how much Amazon charges you for Golden Age of the Moors, probably $200 or $300. I got the book converted to PDF. You can get it for a small donation, or if you want it printed and bind it, you can get it from us printed and bind it, and pay a fraction of the price that Amazon going to charge you. That's why I be telling people to not deal with me is a slap in your face. And other Europeans and professors and everything, they deal with me, and our own people don't. That's the sad part. A prophet and an angel should come from amongst your own people. I should only be teaching those that want to be educated and spiritual people that academically after those endeavors. I should be able to teach this the common brothers and sisters, because your spirituality and your nationality is what's going to have us as a nation, and we're going to be able to deal with the affairs of man. When we doing these single things, and some of us Negroes, some of us this, some of that, it ain't gonna work. But we never been in no Dark Ages. We never been in no medieval times. We never been in that. We never been in no Dark Ages. A deliberate condition orchestrated by the church papals. When I talk about the papal bull, we just don't know this. And the dumb diverses, we don't know this. To render Europe free once and all from all African and Asian influence. That's what that was all about. They ordered the pillage and then destruction of all the temples, the mystery schools, universities, and libraries. African and other clergies were tried for heresy. Many were crucified, burned, or murdered, catapulting Europe into darkness for more than 500 years. That's what the Dark Ages was. Now, with the memory slate of the new generation of peasants wiped clean, it became convenient for the church to perpetuate its brands of Christianity on the unsuspecting, ignorant masses. They were even more successful in convincing all of Europe into believing and perpetuating the stories circulated by those ones that was dealing with the Inquisition, those explorers, and those Jesuits concerning African serpent-centered religious practices, particularly those of fiercely autonomous African priestess, whom they referred to as immoral temple prostitutes. That's what the Bible, that's what they call our empresses. They call them temple prostitutes, and you don't even know. You don't even know. They be laughing at it. They be like, yeah, we gonna call them temple prostitutes. Not, they want temple prostitutes. What we think, that's how they condemned them so bitterly by the Hebrew biblical patriarchs. That's how they condemned your woman. Think about it. That's how they condemn the woman and the black woman in the church. Oh, she ain't did it. That's where it come from. And Negroes don't even know it because they don't have no culture, no history. Think about it. In one pro-Gunistic campaign, the following rumor was widely believed and became a popular folk chant. At night, the men and women, as well as the Sibyl, turn into horrifying snakes, and whoever wants to enter the cave must first share lashes, pleasures with those revolting serpents. See, this is the lies. Europe was finally free. Areas where so vestiges of symbols of Isis tradition remain. Those worshippers fell prey to violence and ridicule. So all I'm saying, man, is know our history, brothers and sisters. Don't get caught up in nobody trying to separate us. Don't get caught up in not understanding history. Don't get caught up in families having, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Brothers, don't let your dislike of our women say, well, that's the problem with the world because women want to be in power and we don't even know our rich culture. Because I don't have a dog in this political fight. All I know, a lot of brothers that vote, they don't even know law and policy. And then I say, well, if that's the case, what's the agenda? And both of them parties calling themselves black people. The brother that voted Democrat and then the brother that voted for Trump, they both talk that black stuff. And I say both of them crazy. Because according to science and law, black has no standing. So what reparations you talking about? So it's a game. They talk about what Trump gonna give us. Man, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. I want an equal playing field. Nobody my daddy. I don't need nobody to give me nothing. We should want an equal playing field. And the religious rights and who we are trump this. Our people must support the mission. And we got to stop letting people tell our story. And so with that being said, man, I love y'all. I love every single one of y'all. And this ain't about no one else. I'm not here to do no kumbaya with nobody or play no game because I love everyone. I understand human nature and I understand the creator created everything, but I'm talking about my people. I have no problem with a European and Albion and Trinidad. I teach a lot of people that's different cultures. I'm talking to my brother and sister that look like me, that we should have something in common. And what's in common should be who we are. What should be in common is our vote as a people. That should be some things that we should be able to talk about with some sense. To understand about how we can put our dollars together and we can have our own spirituality house. We can have our own schools and temples where brothers and sisters can come get in shape, come learn, have a library, come learn how to set their businesses up, come learn how to live right and eat right, learn how men learn how to make food, women learn how to make food, young men learn how to balance their money. Just because you have something, do you know how to balance? Do you know how to budget? Do you know how to live? Do you know how to read? Do you know how to meditate? When you're in a tough bind, who can you call? Who are you studying with? What questions are you asking? Legally, lawfully, spirituality. Who are you talking to? And most of our brothers and sisters are not. They steady playing the game because they think some money is going to save them. They think something is going to save them, but you're going to save them. The Holy Spirit is going to save you. You just have to be guided by your own brother. That's what a map and a guide is. We have to be okay with our brother that's anointed and consecrated to lead us and show us something. That don't mean less of you. That don't make you less of a leader. That make you a great leader. How? When you can be led. How? By somebody that you know that not only know more than you, but to show you the way and to give you everything that he has. That's why I tell people a workman is due his hire. Brothers, and no disrespect, my brothers and sisters, we can't spend all our money on no smoking weed and thinking, oh, okay, I'm smoking weed and then I feel better. No, that's not gonna make you feel better. What you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to keep going to that psychosis. I told y'all, I got another expensive book, The Chemical Greatness to the black, melanin, The Chemical Greatness to Black People. You see how much that book costs? That book costs stacks. I know why we have more of an addictive personality. I know that, but our finances can't just be spent on smoking or weed. And I'm not talking about nobody. Our money just can't be spent on the outer appearance on things. We have to spend some of our money and some of our time of acquiring some wisdom and some knowledge to get us to the next level of life, to get us to the next level of business, so we can start doing things as a co-op collectively. I'll be telling people, man, there's strength in numbers. We could already have our own smoke shops, our own cigar shops, our own spiritual houses, our own places where we barter, where we come together each weekend and do things together and watch movies and put clothes on and watch films and all that at our own places. Other people should be bringing people to me. If people in Arizona, that other Moors, and it's not an other, we should be coming together. But see, you got all these people with this out of prison stuff and with this ego because they can't be educated by somebody that look like them. So we'll let somebody that don't look like us tell us something. When you go to jail, what to eat and what to drink, and then want to come to me after the fact you got in trouble. We shouldn't be like that. We should be loving on our brothers that has a particular type of wisdom, a particular type of aptitude. I should be being hit up every day. People should be getting books and literature from me from every day. It shouldn't be just Europeans and academia. And if I'm traveling, going to the colleges, and these kids is booking me to speak, and they putting thousands of dollars together like, oh, we all got $50 or $100. These kids, and I just give them a tax exempt receipt, and I give them books and literature. No way some kids can come up with this every week, and my people can't. And I've been doing this for free forever, and I'm going to continue to do it because it's ministry. All I'm saying, the reason why I don't mean nothing to a lot of people, which my dad said something a long time ago, until you put money behind your mission, until you put time behind your mission, you ain't nothing but a lotterer. You don't have nothing invested in it. When people just pop in that know me and don't invest their time or their finances, you nothing but a lotterer. That means you are lukewarm, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I don't got time for those people. We use this to cast our net out. I'm talking to all my people that got babe behind their names. The only reason why people that's not dealing with me that know me, because they act like they money in this, but you see them having a great freaking time every day. It's about your time. It ain't about how much money it is. It's about giving gratitude. $5 is just as good as 500 when you're dealing with me. This is what I tell people. I'm a source. I'm going to give it to you. Long as you take care of me, if this wisdom is getting books and wisdom and learning how to do things, is it worth something? A person say no. Well, is the marijuana you smoke worth something? Yes. Well, then the marijuana is more important than this. And that's okay to me. But damn, you don't know how to split a little bit of your resources and a little bit of your time for something that you say is important? Something that can help you and all your brothers and sisters around you, so we can have a safe place to do things collectively. Come on, my brothers and sisters. We got to stop letting social media and the powers that be and all these podcasts separate man and woman. We got to understand that women sat at a high place. And no disrespect, peace be among that man, Kevin Samuels. When he talking about high value men and women, I want to close with that. I don't have a problem with no woman saying they high value. I don't have a problem with a man saying they high value. What I do have a problem with is men picking their mates or women picking their mates based off a dollar. Because you know and I know most men don't pick their woman based off how much money they making. I know a lot of men make way more than a woman. Hell, a man can be driving down the street in a Lamborghini, a multi-million-dollar man. Woman can go to Payless and put on a sundress and some cheap shoes, and she can pull the multi-millionaire. But it won't happen vice versa. Understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is we have to stop letting powers that be and our own people play this male and female game and keep our family separated. Because in our culture, the man and the woman sat on the throne together. And when we had the child, that's immaculate conception. What? In 9 months come the child. That's Trinity. We ain't never had no problem. Not in ancient times, not in culture times. Our women always had the power and authority to go to work, to go educate themselves. Always. And we're going to keep it like that. And we're not going to let no one give no false narrative, no man, no principality. Now, when it's coming down to politics and what just happened, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not going to let, and I ain't rocking with no man that'll say the world is messed up because a woman want to run for a position. That's asinine to say. To me, that's asinine. So, and I asked a person, so would that mean you default? That mean you would pick a man no matter if he's not better suited for the position than a woman? And if you say, yeah, that's an idiot to me. And say the man is a misnomer white man, a misnomer Trinidite, a misnomer Albion. Would you pick the European Albion Trinidite over the sister because you don't like sisters? And you can check mark her off everything that you need. And you would say, well, women can't rule the world. I'm going with it. That's messed up. That's messed up because I know a lot of, no disrespect, because I sit behind closed doors. A lot of Europeans will deal with each other by default. When our people say it's a conflict of interest, why they don't hire their kids, and they say this, Europeans do. That's why they get in those positions. Donald Trump, hell, Hilton, hell, the race car drivers, they get in those positions to put their kids in positions. They start nonprofits and things, and they rich friends start nonprofits to cipher that money so they can help their organizations. It ain't about that. It's the government thing. They use their money to build what they like. That's why Donald Trump told Hillary Clinton, he said, the day I show you my taxes or whatever is the day you show me those emails. He know the law. And that's what I'm telling people. You got to understand this. When I tell people we tax exempt for the federal government, religious and charitable and scientific, but black people don't understand that. Them Negroes think they getting a tax return. Them Negroes thinking they getting a tax return. When I try to tell them the only reason why you only can file exempt because you're not donating your money to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. But when you are, you can file exempt forever. Why? Because you're paying your taxes. How? Through your religious organization of your choice. And your organization can give you a tax exempt receipt. And if you're doing work with the church and the church can't pay you, you can get a tax exempt or accounts receivable. It's called in-kind services. What? To add to your taxes. The whole thing is to give Uncle Sam less money and build your community. How? With the money that you was going to give Uncle Sam willingly. And we don't understand that. It's so much that we need to be re-educated. That's why in that movie, The Sopranos, the church owned everything. That's why you see the gangsters can go and talk to the priest and they never get in trouble. Why? Because that's lawyer-client confidentiality. Black people don't have that. Why? Because according to science and law, black mean deaf. When you a black preacher, you get subpoenaed. I tell people, I'm not black. It's nothing about me black. When you say black to me, it's just like I act like a European Jew. That's anti-Semitic. Because I know history, because I'm not black. I'm not an adjective. So that being said, once again, I love everyone. If we want to learn, us as a people, now is the time, because there's nothing new under the sun and there's nothing hidden. We're just not introduced into the science. And a lot of our educators, a lot of our scholars, and a lot of our preachers can't speak like this because a lot of our preachers are under the FBI, which is the faith-based initiative, meaning they have to preach and teach based on government mandated teachings for that money, which, hey, you can do what you want to, but I'm anointed and I'm consecrated by the Creator, and I have my own school and I'm educated. I have my own library, over 1 million books and documents. I have my own school. Brothers and sisters that y'all on here, stop being fair weather friends. Stop being lukewarm. Stop just telling me stuff. Because when you tell me stuff and it don't happen, I look at you a certain way, and it's no disrespect to no one. All you should have to, like Scarface says, is your balls and your word. When people be saying this and I see you, that mean it do something to me. It shows to me that you ain't honorable over a damn thing. When people say, well, their job is their life. Okay, when you lose your job, then what? You don't have nothing else to hold on to? That's why when people, they always be talking. And you don't have to just talk with me. People be saying a whole bunch of stuff. But where's the action? It's just like people be saying they voting and doing all this and they know this, and then they turn around and do the straight opposite of what they said they were going to do. They do the straight opposite. And that's the sin with my people. We know better. We must do better. I love y'all once again, man. And thank y'all for taking these 2 hours out y'all day. Y'all know my hookup. Y'all know my cell phone. Y'all know my cell phone. Y'all know my website pages. On Facebook, my name, Khary Goodman Bey. On Facebook, on Instagram, Moorish_haberdasher. Moorish_haberdasher. Check out my book company, mypdfbooks.com. That's books with the Z. mypdfbooks.com. That's books with the Z, where you can get a whole bunch of ancient books. You can download them to your tablet. So when you go to My PDF Books, I have to be clear, because a lot of time, no disrespect, when misnumbered black people purchase from me, this is what emails I get. Hey man, I didn't get the book in the mail. And I say, sir, it's mypdfbooks.com. What do you think that means? I think they're PDF downloads. Exactly, sir. So if I'm giving you a book that costs on Amazon, say $4,000, and I'm giving you the PDF for $10 or $15, what is you tripping over? Go to Office Max and Staples and have them print and bind it. It's the book. That's why I converted books to PDF. But if you want the book printed and bind it, I have another company called bindedbooks.com, and we bind and print expensive books. And all you got to do is go on Amazon and look at the price. No piece of paper should cost no $4,000 or $5,000 for some paper. I got it. you should want the wisdom. I have another company called MoorishHaberdasher.com where you can get all your fezzes and all your turbans, all that, etc. Check it out, MoorishHaberdasher.com. And once again, y'all, anybody that's serious, that want to learn, that want to be a member or a student of my school, we have a syllabus, we have a enrollment package, because we do ask for donations. And it's really not nothing what you receive. And you get taxes and receipt each month. My email is my name, Goodman, Goodman, my first name, Khary, @gmail.com. Once again, my email is goodmankhary @gmail.com. My office number, if you email me or if you plan anything, I'm just gonna block you. I'm an open book, which I tell people. I want people to contact me. I want people to respond. We even have a podcast channel. Subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube page. It's called Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have classes. Friday, we have book club. Saturday, we have adapt class. Sunday, we have Sunday school. And you subscribe to that on YouTube and Facebook. Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And for my members and my muftis, I have private lessons. I have private classes. A lot of stuff that I don't share on social media. And once again, my office number is 602-473-8767. Once again, man, I give y'all nothing but gratitude. I give y'all nothing but love. And if you have children, kids, or anything, I have a full library, y'all. You don't have to go to Amazon and continue to make Jeff Bezos rich. It ain't nothing wrong with that. But hell, support your brother. Get the wisdom from me. Inbox me. Ask me. Get your digital library so full. And then anything that you want, bind it and print it. Our company will bind it and print it, or Office Max and Staples will bind it and print it like this. They'll bind it and print it like this. Just like that. It'll be bound and printed. Just like so. So I'm saying? That's how they'll bind it. And last, my brothers and sisters, I've been telling y'all, this is like our commentary, our dictionary. On Amazon, I think this may cost about $200 something. Right now, if y'all listening to me, you can get this PDF. This is the Holy Grail. And if you read it, which most people, I'll leave y'all. I met a Moor, been following me forever, older gentleman. So when I was lecturing out of an insert out of here, he like, yeah, where you lecturing from, Sheik? I'm like, from the Exhumed Other Nation. He like, yeah, I got that. So I said, how long you been had it? He said, about like 6-7 years. I said, so have you read it? Do you understand? Like, man, I haven't even read it. And so I know a lot of our people, your aptitude have to be a certain way. Your intellectual capacity got to be a certain way. Your attention span have to be a certain way to not only read this, take notes, read it again, and be able to teach this verbatim, each chapter, and live it. Because this over 600 pages. And I have this available. If anybody want this, download it on their tablet. I'm only asking for a $40 donation. And you can go to Office Max and Staples, and they'll print it and bind it for you. Or if you inbox me, my mufti, Lamarck, or my mufti, Dantes, they'll print it and bind it. Because, I don't have time to print and bind nothing. I have them do it. Anybody that's on here, you can get this downloaded on your tablet in PDF form for only a $40 donation if you serious. I done so many book sales that people can get, and none of people that follow me, that's Moors, because I'll be watching the names that be ordering things. No disrespect. I'm gonna be honest. The only people that order books for me when I've been doing these book sales on my YouTube channel and stuff are European college students, European Jews, a couple brothers that was locked up, and they put money together to order damn near my whole list of PDF books. And I'm like, how in the hell are these brothers locked up getting more stuff than people out here that got Bay behind their names and be following me? I said, how can Europeans, Albions, and college students seek me out to get more wisdom than these people that's free in the world that got Bay behind their name? And they talk all that black stuff and all that. What's up? So that's how you can get in contact with me. Y'all know all my platforms, my social media platforms on YouTube. Our Temple and School is on YouTube and Facebook. Please subscribe. Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. I gave y'all my office number. I gave y'all my email. Anybody that need anything, any literature, any books, please get with me. Please do business with me. You know, I'm going to give you way more than what you purchased from me. If you don't know how to tie your turban or your shemag, get with me. If you don't have none, order from me. I'll give you extras. I have turban classes with you to show you how to wrap your turban. If you don't have a fez, get with me. I'll provide them. We sell them. If you don't have suits, if you don't have regalia, if you don't have Moorish literature, historic literature, scientific history, and you think you want something, or you see how much it costs on Amazon, and you might say, man, Russian icons cost $4,000 on Amazon. I have it. You know what I mean? You might want Atlantis of Latter Days that's unavailable on Amazon. I have it. It may be some things that you see on Amazon that cost way too much money. And that's why they make it that much money, because wisdom in it. I have it. I got a book right now. I'm not going to keep pulling stuff out. But I have so many books that's on Amazon that cost thousands and $3,000 that I convert to PDF that you can get. Like Melanin, the chemical greatness, the chemical element to black greatness. I think that book costs a couple stacks on Amazon. I'll have them. I have them PDF and I converted them. I converted them to PDF and you can download it on your tablet. So don't miss out, y'all. Don't miss out. Let's build this platform. Support your brother. I love every one of y'all. Once again, peace, light, and illumination. I don't even know how to cut my phone off. There we go. Gratitude.